Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You join us here in the Hard Times Club on VP4 Online. And tonight we have a match between RTC-UK, who goes by the name of Rich, and, well, you guess how he wants to pronounce that. It looks like a UK postal code B11TME, who happens to go under the name of Keith. This is a black ball match in a race to 5, played on the UK pub table. The table settings are on tournament settings, which is the fastest cloth, rails, and also the tightest pockets. Black ball is a sort of different variation on traditional 8-ball pub that a lot of people are probably familiar with over the years. There's a few variants in this, but the strategy's fairly similar, although the difference in this game is that when you commit a foul, you're giving your opponent what you would call the traditional 2 shots, but the first shot is a free shot, which means that you can play any ball on the table and do with it what you like. So the difference, I would say, well, that's a general description of what it is, but the sort of main advantage of it is it makes it a more attacking game, because it can be a good strategy to try and get your own nominated balls over pockets, but if you commit a foul, then all your hard work can be easily undone with one shot, and you can hand over the ascendancy to your opponent. So it's a pretty good game. If you've never played pub, or if you have played pub 8-ball on VP3, you'll notice straight away that everything about it is wrong. The table that it's played on is never designed to have 8-ball pub on it. It's a 9-foot pool table, American pool, with the square cut pockets, whereas the traditional pub table is what this is, with the rounded pockets, just like on a snooker table. And of course the other major difference is the size of the pockets. These pockets are very tight. The match will continue in a second or two, because one of the guys is just away making a cup of tea. So the biggest thing you'll also notice in VP4 is the physics difference from each set of balls. For example, probably the most popular game people are going to play in virtual pool throughout the years has been 9-ball. That seems to be the most popular, although there's quite a varied choice in games that people like. However, the physics that you have in the 9-ball table in Virtual Pool 4 are entirely different from what you'll experience in the pub table. The traditional American pool balls, if you compare them with most of the popular games that people in the UK would know, like snooker or billiards or 8-ball pub, for example, the biggest difference in the American pool balls is they're the biggest that you would generally play with in Virtual Pool 4, so they're the heaviest, and the physics in them are going to be different because the balls on this pub table are smaller and lighter, and the whole dynamics of the game are different, because it's a lot easier to manoeuvre balls on this table. It's certainly a huge difference in how much you can move the cue ball, because the cue ball's lighter as well, obviously. So it's an entirely different feeling if all you've done is played on an American pool table, and then you come into this game and you start playing this one. Big difference. And the accuracy you need on this table is really of paramount importance, because if you go slightly offline, unlike the normal pool tables where you can cheat the pockets, there's no such thing as cheating a pocket in this game. You know, it's really, really tough. You clip the jaw or the knuckle of the pocket there before you get to the pocket, you ain't going into the pocket. Simple as that. You're going to be sitting in the edge. So we're still just sort of messing about here in the first rack. It looks like Keith seems to be in control at that far end of the table, and Rich has got a couple of blockers there that cover a fair section of the right hand side of the table, although it doesn't block access to get to that red. So Keith decides he's going to try and tie things up in that corner and make his position a bit more secure. Let's just move down to where all the action's going to be in a minute. That's a blocker put in there. Now it's getting interesting. It looks a bit like a forlorn hope here for Rich in this rack. Now what he wants to do is try and block his access to those two reds and force him into going for the red down at the far end. And that seems to have done the trick, because there's no way he can get to those two. So that's forced him into unblocking that pocket. And however, has he snookered himself? It looks like he has. He was only half an inch away from having a cut on that red. And that is perfect. That's a brilliant shot. What a good finish to that rack. As Keith says, the only good thing to come from it. 8 balls tied up with a yellow. So there's a bit of manoeuvring needing done at that end of the table. So first glimpse at this table, reds are the favourites, they're all out in the open. There's nothing blocking them to a pocket. And that was a terrible shot by Rich. I don't think he quite took his time over that and looked at the potting angle. But I'm going to make an excuse for him. It has just gone 4:50 AM. that makes no difference to me. I just sound as miserable as I always do. So remember, Keith, who's B11TME, is on the reds. The black's now in open play. He's going to take the awkward red first, try and get a clean pathway out to this open red. And as was likely to happen, he couldn't avoid the 8 ball, so now he's snookered. You'll notice in the top left of the screen on the HUD it says full snooker rail hit not necessary. If he could have played a massé shot round the yellow, but obviously he can't because the other yellow's there. In this game, like most of the pool games nowadays, the general rule is you must drive a ball to a rail. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yellows on the table. Rich has just played a little roll up in the yellow to get it nearer the pocket, and he's blocked Keith's a path to the red. He's made a clean hit on it. It's out in the open. It goes into both these corner pockets, as does of course the 8 ball. So now Rich is going to have to go all out to try and win this match, this rack. So he's heading for the long grass, as I say, although he hasn't quite covered that. He's left this out in the open for a cut into the corner. It'll be a good shot if he does it, and it's a good shot because he did it. That was perfect. So Keith goes into a 2-0 lead. I think that was a yellow that went down. The table's still open. You've still got the choice of what balls you want to go for. So once he plays his second shot, then looks like it's going to be the reds. He'll be then on the reds. Might be worth just leaving these reds up this end, because obviously the black's up this end, so he might have tried to clear those couple of reds at that end first. So he's just going to leave the one red down here on the left hand side as his last ball, I would assume, to get onto the 8 ball. And now he's deciding to go for the red, so he's opened the pocket. Plain sailing now, just needs to roll the red in, drop onto the top or the bottom rail as we look at it. That takes Keith into a 3-0 lead. Other thing to mention, if I haven't mentioned it before in any of the other videos, is that the UK table, the pub table, all the games are played with what's called a UK queue in VP4, which is a sort of roundabout way of saying a snooker queue. Both of these queues are probably 8mm or 9mm tips. but they're the same cues that are used both in this game and in the snooker game in VP4. One thing to look out for is though that the players are still using a standard American break cue for their opening break. Let's have a little look from the other end. I think Rich is in his last legs at 5 AM. I don't know about those two guys, but I'll certainly be calling it quits after this. Keith's in two minds whether to open his reds up here. He's just going to tuck him up behind the red. It's a good shot, but of course it was just a case of getting out of the snooker, but now he's tucked up behind that red. Can he hit a thin edge of it? Probably not. It looks really tight. Well, he did the best thing there in the fact that he didn't hit his own ball. He still got the red tied up next to the yellow. And Keith misses the cut into the middle, but in doing so he's opened everything up. He's going long distance here, probably back out into the middle of the table if he'd avoided the kiss. I think he's still got a shot. Yep. So it's now a nice angle on this red just to stun it in and stun out into the table. Although no, he didn't need to. He did have an angle there. He didn't have as much angle as I thought, and he had enough just to hold for that red, but missed the first object of the exercise. A nice double there, or bank, by Rich, and a nice kiss to drop onto the 8 ball. So can he get a frame? He does, or a rack if you want to call it, whatever you'd prefer. I prefer to use frames when it's pub. That's just my snooker background coming out. So it's now 3 racks to 1 in this race to 5. Keith from Northern Ireland, and Rich from somewhere down near London. Is it Morden, I think he comes from? It's down south anyway, I know that, mate. That's where he comes from, down there. He's a white boy from London, ain't he? I'm pretty certain if the two of these guys were on TeamSpeak, neither of them could understand each other. Keith with what I'm probably guessing is a strong Northern Ireland accent. I believe Keith does some very good deals on his car valeting service that he provides. He's always putting in little plugs on Facebook for his special offers. The only problem is he doesn't collect your vehicle and bring it back if you live in the UK mainland, or else they'd have taken him up in his offer. Yeah, if he did a door-to-door service over here, he'd get a lot more business. I think my mind's beginning to wander. So, Keith's on the reds. He's got top right hand corner covered, one over the pocket and one right next to the pocket. This end of the table, bottom right, he's blocked out. Rich is in command at that corner. Cross bank, unlucky. Now here's a very good opportunity for Rich to get his second rack on the board. Let's see if we can knock that yellow onto that one. Yes, he can. That looks fairly straightforward. Just drop this yellow in. A nice soft roll on the first yellow onto the one over the pocket. And he didn't hit it enough. Or was he playing tactically? I don't know. I would have thought that if he was going for the kill, he would have hit that at the pace to get it into the pocket and get the second one, and then get back down there for the 8-ball. Oh, what a kiss there on the red. That changes this rack completely. Rich will be regretting that weak shot in the yellow there now. It was either a bad shot or bad tactics. We'll need to discuss that with him later. Now, is Keith going to just cut that one along? No, he's just going to roll the red in. And it's going to be 4 racks to 1. The break goes back to Rich. Wonder how much you'd pay for a break and run out here. right collection up in the far left corner. That's really ugly looking, that table. So we're still in an open table situation, neither player has a ball potted. The chair's making funny noises. So we've got Keith on the yellows, Rich on the reds, red into the middle. Probably going to have to open that pocket up in the right hand corner. Or is he going to just try and roll that red? Oh, I don't know. He seemed to play that a bit quick. I think these two guys want to get to their bed the same as me. That's locked up Keith on what's probably going to be his final yellow. 8 ball tight on the right hand rail. Now here's an opportunity to knock that yellow in or clear the pocket like that. That's a very good shot. Now it's changed again. Rich is just going to try and lock that up, and he failed. So he can either cut one into the middle, or is he going to just try and roll this down the table? No. Well, that might turn out to be quite a good strategy shot, blocking the path of the 8 ball. We'll see if it is. Keith, of course, reluctant to do anything with those 2 yellows over that far left corner pocket for the time being. Just manoeuvring his yellow to the vacant corner pocket here. Well, Keith's now freed up the 8 ball again. And Rich is, what, 8 inches short of the 8 ball, of the, sorry, his own red ball. So Keith uses his free shot to just clear away Rich's ball. That's went wrong for him. He improved the situation and then he just made it as bad as ever with that kiss there in the yellow. So that blocks Rich's access to the red and the right, although it would be questionable whether he would have potted that should he have been able to get to it. He might just try and thin this. Yeah. Let's have a look and see how that looks. That's pretty good. Keith can't get near that yellow. Although he's played a very good shot there. He's now in control of that pocket. And Rich locks him up again. Red, yellow, red, yellow. Oh, there was just enough room for him to sneak past there and really lock his yellow ball up in the pocket. Now he's going to go for the split, I think. Really try and get that yellow ball out there and free it up from those reds. Oh, that's worked out perfect. He could just take the one over the pocket and come out for the yellow, or just roll the yellow onto the one over the pocket. He's got a choice. Now this is a delicate touch needed here, just to thin this yellow in and come across to more or less the same position he was in and leave an open pot into the middle pocket. That's a good shot. Good control of pace. And it's match over, and it's good night from me, and it's